Well, this is a list of verbs conjugated in different forms. I don't know why I choose that, but I suppose because it was the first. Well, the thing is that I'm going um, to read it. I'm going to read this with my voice, and this is like that. It's I abandon, you abandon, he abandons, she abandons, it abandons, we abandon, you abandon, they abandon, and in past, I abandoned, you abandoned, he abandoned, she abandoned, it abandoned, we abandoned, you abandoned, they abandoned. Future with will. I will abandon, you will abandon, he will abandon, she will abandon, it will abandon, we will abandon, you will abandon, they will abandon. Conditional, it says here, I would abandon, you would abandon, he would abandon, she would abandon, it would abandon, we would abandon, you would abandon, they would abandon. And we have past conditional. It says here, I will have abandoned, you will have abandoned, he will have abandoned, she will have abandoned, it will have abandoned, we will have abandoned, you will have abandoned, they will have abandoned. And then we have the negatives in present. I don't abandon, you don't abandon, he doesn't abandon, she doesn't abandon, it doesn't abandon, we don't abandon, you don't abandon, they don't abandon. I didn't abandon in past, you didn't abandon, he didn't abandon, she didn't abandon, it didn't abandon, we didn't abandon, you didn't abandon, they didn't abandon. Negative future. I won't abandon, you won't abandon, he won't abandon, she won't abandon, it won't abandon, we won't abandon, you won't abandon, they won't abandon. And we have negative present conditional. I won't abandon, you won't abandon, he won't abandon, she won't abandon, it won't abandon, we won't abandon, you won't abandon, they won't abandon. Negative past conditional. I won't have abandoned, you won't have abandoned, he won't have abandoned, she won't have abandoned, it won't have abandoned, we won't have abandoned, you won't have abandoned, they won't have abandoned. And then we have the questions forms, like in do I abandon, do you abandon, does he abandon, does she abandon, does it abandon, do we abandon, do you abandon, do they abandon. And in past, did I abandon, did you abandon, did you abandon, did he abandon, did she abandon, did it abandon, did we abandon, did you abandon, did they abandon. And future, will I abandon, will you abandon, will he abandon, will she abandon, will it abandon, will we abandon, will you abandon, will they abandon. Future questions. And we have question present conditional. Will I abandon, will you abandon, will he abandon, will she abandon, will it abandon, will we abandon, will you abandon, will they abandon. And then we have here other forms with this past conditional. It says here, I will have abandoned, you will have abandoned, he will have abandoned, she will have abandoned, it will have abandoned, we will have abandoned, you will have abandoned, they will have abandoned. Negative past conditional. I will have abandoned, I won't have abandoned, you won't have abandoned, he won't have abandoned, she won't have abandoned, it won't have abandoned, we won't have abandoned, you won't have abandoned, they won't have abandoned. And then we have present perfect. I have abandoned, you have abandoned, he has abandoned, she has abandoned, it has abandoned, we have abandoned, you have abandoned, they have abandoned. Negative present perfect. I haven't abandoned, you haven't abandoned, he hasn't abandoned, she hasn't abandoned, it hasn't abandoned, we haven't abandoned, you haven't abandoned, they haven't abandoned. Then we have past perfect. I had abandoned, you had abandoned, she had abandoned, she had abandoned, it had abandoned, we had abandoned, you had abandoned, they had abandoned. Negative. I hadn't abandoned, you hadn't abandoned, he hadn't abandoned, she hadn't abandoned, it hadn't abandoned, we hadn't abandoned, you hadn't abandoned, they hadn't abandoned. Then we have future perfect. I will have abandoned, you will have abandoned, he will have abandoned, she will have abandoned, it will have abandoned. Then we have in this time the future perfect. I will have abandoned, you will have abandoned, he will have abandoned, she will have abandoned, it will have abandoned, we will have abandoned, you will have abandoned, they will have abandoned. A negative future perfect. I won't have abandoned, you won't have abandoned, he won't have abandoned, she won't have abandoned, it won't have abandoned, we won't have abandoned, you won't have abandoned, they won't have abandoned. And then I am going to find if it's there another forms, and then I'm going to put. Then we have these. I think then it's there are in the question forms for the other verbs with will, and here we could make the questions forms putting will I have abandoned, will you have abandoned, will he have abandoned, will she have abandoned, will it have abandoned, will we have abandoned, will you have abandoned, they will have abandoned, or with question with negative, will I have abandoned, will you have abandoned, will he have abandoned, will she have abandoned, will it have abandoned, will we have abandoned, will you have abandoned, will they have abandoned, the questions. And the questions with present perfect. Have I abandoned? Have you abandoned? Has he have abandoned? Has she abandoned? Has it abandoned? Have we abandoned? Have you abandoned? Have they abandoned? Or negative question. Haven't I abandoned? Haven't you abandoned? Hasn't he abandoned? Hasn't she abandoned? Hasn't it abandoned? Haven't we abandoned? Haven't you abandoned? Haven't they abandoned? Had I abandoned, or with this, had you abandoned, had he abandoned, had she abandoned, had it abandoned, had we abandoned, had you abandoned, had they abandoned, hadn't I abandoned, hadn't you abandoned, hadn't he abandoned, hadn't she abandoned, hadn't it abandoned, hadn't we abandoned, hadn't you abandoned, hadn't they abandoned? Will I have abandoned? Will you have abandoned? Will you have abandoned? Will he have abandoned? Will she have abandoned? Will it have abandoned? Will we have abandoned? Will you have abandoned? Will they have abandoned? Won't I have abandoned? Won't you have abandoned? Won't he have abandoned? Won't she have abandoned? Won't it have abandoned? Won't we have abandoned? Won't you have abandoned? Won't they have abandoned? The question forms.